It's my face. You stole my face.
Always just knock you out, and then you won't have to panic.
Oh boy, this is gonna be an awkward one. The Flash is directed by Andy Muschietti and is meant to act as a cosmic reset for the increasingly fractured DCEU. It stars Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, who, in a moment of desperation, goes back in time to save his mom. But when the ripple effects start rippling, Barry has to undo what he did, or the fabric of the multiverse could be torn into pieces. First things first, we should probably get the elephant out of the room just so we can focus on judging the movie. The biggest sour grape hanging over this movie amidst all the delays has been Ezra Miller. There have been several channels bigger and smarter than I am that have made videos breaking down their various crimes, both confirmed and alleged. And while that's not necessarily something I'm interested in discussing here, I do acknowledge it's kind of unavoidable in most cases. All I'll say is, they've done some pretty fucked up things, they've apologized for it, and from the looks of it, they've gotten the mental help they really needed, which is honestly all you can hope for a person. If you're able to separate art from the artist and look at Flash the character rather than Ezra the person playing him, then you should be fine watching this. If you're absolutely unable to forgive Ezra, remember that this movie is a bigger production than just them, and watch it for the other actors and crew who worked hard to get this movie made. Now that I'm off my soapbox, I thought this movie was kind of good, but a very complicated kind of good. Like, there are elements in this movie that could make or break your experience. Firstly, let's get the biggest one out of the way. The visual effects. Yikes. This is a 2023 big budget superhero movie, and it looks like Flash traveled into the Polar fucking Express. It is very plastic and fake and unfinished looking, but to their credit, for effects that look this fake, they do some creative things with it. The way they show time travel and utilize Flash's powers look very cool and cinematic, and the movie has fun with these sequences. There's even a scene towards the beginning where Flash has to save a bunch of babies from falling out of a window, which is hilarious. Another aspect that is kind of a mixed bag is Ezra Miller themselves. And I say themselves both out of respect for their pronouns and because there are literally two Barrys in this movie. Barry 1, which is basically the main version of Barry, seems to be taking after the version from the Snyder Cut, in that he's slightly more reserved while still keeping that awkward energy. You can see how the death of his mother and the subsequent framing of his father has negatively affected him. He wants to do right by the universe, but doesn't want to lose the people he loves. It's in these more emotional moments where Ezra truly shines. Barry 2, on the other hand, is Joss Whedon Barry times infinity. He is the dumb, annoying younger brother that never shuts the fuck up. That god-awful dolphin laugh they give him grates on you fast. I will say there is a twist they do with him towards the last act that kinda saved him, but Christ, it does not make up for the previous 2 hours of that performance. I know the advertising played up the return of Michael Keaton's Batman and the introduction of Sasha Cale's Supergirl, and while they do play a big role, it is still first and foremost a Flash movie. When they do show up, they're both pretty cool. Admittedly, seeing Keaton back in the Batsuit is a little weird, especially with how janky the CGI is, but his performance is still great, and the action scenes with him are still kinda awesome. I was surprised at how much I liked Kara. She isn't in it much, but when she is, she's cool and kick-ass without being hyper-competent, and her backstory makes me kinda want to see more of her. Talking about the story, I like the movie's themes of sacrifice and letting go. The tragedy with Barry's mom has really only been alluded to in the other films, but seeing the lengths he's willing to go to keep her alive is genuinely kind of moving. I also like that it doesn't end with everyone saved and everything being alright. I also appreciated that the fan service moments weren't intrusive. There are some that are kind of forced, like Batman saying, "You want to get nuts, let's get nuts," but there are others that are genuinely pretty cool. Ultimately, this movie had a lot of baggage coming into theaters, between all the delays and controversy to the pieces it needed to put into place for this universal reset. So the fact that it's out and it's decent is nothing short of a miracle. I don't think it's the most amazing movie of all time, but I think it's enjoyable enough as long as you can overlook some of those lesser elements. Coming out of this movie, I was sat between a 3.5 and a 4, and I kept jumping back and forth between a final ranking, so for right now, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5.